My name is McCall Hawk. I'm a senior at Evergreen High School in Corbo's English and Composition class. Next year, I'm attending CSU's engineering school with plans to be an environmental engineer. My research paper, What's at Stake, talks all about the risks of eating meat, primarily red and processed meat. I've been a pescatarian for 3.5 years, which is someone who has a vegetarian diet but just incorporates fish into it. This is what really got me started on this topic. The longer I've been a pescatarian, the more I've been able to focus on the nutrition aspect of not eating meat and why it's so helpful. To start, eating meat is directly linked to heart disease, diabetes, some cancers, especially colon cancer, obesity, and simply a lower life expectancy. Meat is extremely high in saturated fat, which directly leads to heart failure, and as our meat intake has tripled since 1960, heart disease is now the #1 killer in America, with roughly 700,000 deaths annually. As my indicated major notes, I'm very interested in the environment. The production of meat alone is one of the biggest contributors to pollution, overuse of water, and excessive amounts of waste. Many researchers argue that the consumption of meat is responsible for 1/5 of all greenhouse gases, which is more than transportation. 70% of all agricultural land, which is 30% of all land, is in some way devoted to livestock production. That's how dependent we Americans are on meat. There is not enough grass to hold the 10 billion livestock animals we go through each year. So we have taken them away from their natural habitat of grazing and just simply grow and feed them grains. The problem here is that it takes a huge amount of water to grow grains, and mostly because of this, the ratio of producing beef to water is 1 pound to 840 gallons. Also, keep in mind that all these animals are continuously producing waste, which is carelessly dumped into our soil, water, and indirectly air. Those were the primary points talked about in What's at Stake. What also was lightly discussed was promoting farmers markets and locally grown vegetables and other foods into one's diet to loosen the bond between consumers and the food that traveled thousands of miles to get to grocery stores. Also, the benefits of fish are unignorable. Mostly any dietitian will suggest cutting meat intakes in half while doubling fish instead. Fish have the same proteins and amino acids as meat and are, in addition, very high in omega-3s. By starting with just reducing meat intakes, hundreds of thousands of gallons of water could be saved, disease risks could relapse, our earth, land, and air could be spared, obesity rates could go down, and farm lives could once again be supported, while eliminating a life full of disease, pollution, and scarcity.